Reddit! How was it founded? Reddit was founded in 2005 by University of Virginia roommate Steve Huffman, who was studying to be a software engineer, and Alexis Ohanian, who was studying to be a lawyer. And for lack of a better word, they were pretty normal college kids. Ohanian at the time, he was a webazian, spending his time creating clans in Quake 2, starting web design nonprofits, and studying to become a lawyer. And upon coming to the University of Virginia, he was, quote, terrified that nobody played video games in college. Now, I don't know what college you're going to, but then again, this is 2005. So during their senior year, the duo had the idea to let people skip waiting in line by ordering food from their phones. Okay, this is cool, but before the UVA duo decided to found the front page for the internet, what led them there? Well, like any gut-wrenching coming-of-age story, it all started with some good old failure. Because you see, Ohanian, who was just 22 at the time, did what every other 22-year-old would do during their spring break. That's right, Ohanian and Huffman went to the Boston. They went to Boston to listen to an old dude speak about how to start a startup. Okay, look, there's nothing wrong with Boston. You got like clam chowder, rich people, the massacre thing. But it's spring break of your senior year, dude. Anyway, the dude speaking in Boston happened to be Paul Graham, the then co-founder of Y Combinator. Okay, so who's Paul Graham? Well, during the dot-com bubble, Graham started a company called ViaWeb, which was like the first online store, and dumped it on Yahoo for a cool $50 million. This gave him all the money in the world to do what he loved, right? So he's a super smart guy, he invests in things, he writes lots, he's a programmer, and finally in 2005 with Jessica Livingston, Robert Morris, and Trevor Blackwell, this team formed a super special exclusive club called Y Combinator. More on this later. At the talk, Paul Graham was being super inspirational, filling a room of soon-to-be entrepreneurs with some of that startup secret sauce.
I am excited because I have something that I think is going to change your life. I think this is going to change the world, actually.
Now, after the talk, Huffman, being a fan of Mr. Paul Graham, rushed up to get an autograph. And here's where things really changed. Because when it was Ohanian's turn to speak to Graham, he mentioned that the duo had come all the way up from Virginia, and that it'd be totally worth the cost of buying you a drink to get your opinion on our startup, which was again the My Mobile Menu idea. And impressed by the confidence, he agreed. So that night, Graham, Ohanian, and Huffman met for coffee at Cafe Algiers, from which the duo got a positive response. When the duo returned to Virginia, Graham and the pair exchanged emails, where Graham noted that he was thinking of starting a program to invest in early-stage founders, a very special club. And since he'd already met the pair, they had a pretty damn good chance of getting in. Okay, remember that super special Y Combinator thing? Of course you do. Yep. After a few weeks after talking to Graham, he publicly announced the launch of Y Combinator, a startup accelerator which invests in money in small companies, provides guidance so that they can help small companies become big. Now, this Y Combinator thing that Graham announced that week ended up being a very successful organization. Since launching, Y Combinator has been responsible for the growth of some very prominent startups, including Uber, Airbnb, and Stripe. Ohanian and Huffman applied to the very first round of YC funding and, to be expected, were accepted, gave their pitch, and raised $750,000 minus $750,000 because they raised nothing. Zero. They failed. Haha, this won't be no startup story with a little bit of failure. Anyway, during the night of the interview, Graham called to say that the My Mobile Menu idea would not be moving forward. And like the smart, college-educated pair they were, they decided to handle the pain in the most healthy and responsible way. So there's the failure part, now the fun part. On a train ride back to Virginia, Ohanian's phone rang. It was Paul Graham, who'd called to say that though they didn't like the My Mobile Menu project, they liked Ohanian and Huffman. So much so that they wanted them back if Ohanian and Huffman would be willing to change their idea to something else.
All right, Carmen, I'm not going to invest in your schminkles. I'm out.
In fact, the whole idea of Reddit, the idea for a front page for the internet, can be attributed to Paul Graham. When the three met, Graham said, "Forget mobile, look to the future and build something for the internet." In fact, the vision for Reddit and the road ahead was solidified when Paul Graham said, "You should build a front page for the web." And so they got to work. The initial Reddit was built in just 3 weeks and featured simple upvote, downvote, and commenting features to curate the best content on the internet. But the duo wouldn't be part of Reddit for long, because not long after creating Reddit... Okay, stay with me here. The duo met a reporter who introduced Ohanian to Rachel Metz, a reporter at Wired, who mentioned Reddit to her boss at Wired. Okay, you still with me? The boss at Wired was the wife of some dude doing business development at Condé Nast, who told Mr. Business Development about Reddit. In case you're unfamiliar, BD or business development is normally the function or group within a company that deals with pursuing strategic activities. Anyway, without all that business nonsense out of the way, in other words, we're a big company, we're huge, we got a shit ton of money, so let's go buy some companies. Nom 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 nom. Now, this business development dude who heard about Reddit worked at this place called Condé Nast. Condé Nast is a mass media company which is in the business of owning a shit ton of media properties including Epicurious, GQ, The New Yorker, Vanity Fair, and Wired. So just after 16 months since founding Reddit, in October of 2006, Ohanian and Huffman sold Reddit to Condé Nast in a deal which was purportedly worth between $10 to $20 million, making the founders instant millionaires overnight. But just for some perspective, in 2017, Reddit was estimated to be worth $1.8 billion, while the sale of Reddit may have made both Huffman and Ohanian instant millionaires overnight. The initial sales price they received was just a little bit lower than that $1.8 billion number. But hey, at 23 it's really hard to say no to a few million. Since the sale in 2006, Ohanian and Huffman have stayed affiliated with Reddit as not only shareholders, but serving as CEO. Reddit would also grow immensely in market penetration, becoming the 4th most visited website in the United States, claiming 400 billion page views a year. Finally, this meteoric growth has attracted some very interesting investors. In 2014, Reddit raised $50 million in a Series B round of funding from prominent venture capital firms Sequoia, Y Combinator, and Andreessen Horowitz, but also attracted funding from Jared Leto and Snoop Dogg. In August of 2017, Reddit raised an additional $200 million at a $1.8 billion valuation, but don't feel too bad for the duo, Ohanian and Huffman, for selling Reddit for $10 to $20 million, as they've likely retained some equity in their sale and have served as CEO. So, they're probably not doing too bad. Ohanian actually went on to marry Serena Williams, of all people, and produce beautiful, Olympic, athlete, tech, genius children, millionaires. And they say life is fair. So that's what happened. Thanks so much for watching, and if you could, there's a button over there with an upvote feature. Just like Reddit, you should totally hit that, and maybe hit that button that says subscribe. That would be awesome too. Hope to see you guys around later. Bye bye now.